Welcome to Volatility Trading Strategies. So I think today's topic is a very important one to discuss, and it may help a lot of young traders out there who are just about to embark on a very difficult journey. But at the same time, I do know how polarizing this subject is. I've done some videos in the past on these hot button type issues, so I do know what to expect. But just do me a favor. Take that thumbs down or negative comment you've got ready to give me, tuck it in your back pocket for a few minutes, and save it for the end of the video, because this is a very important subject to discuss. I'm definitely going to take some heat for it, but somebody has to do it. If you have goals of being a full-time trader, or perhaps you already are one, watch the video to the end because I break down all the math showing just how difficult a journey that might be. It's worth 10 minutes of your time to see these numbers calculated in black and white, and it may just save you some future heartache and disappointment. So my apologies in advance, not trying to offend anybody here, but it is a subject we do need to discuss. So who among us hasn't dreamt about living the life of a full-time trader? No job to wake up for, no boss to answer to, no 9-to-5 rat race. Just you and your laptop, making your own rules and hopefully making bank. You don't like the weather where you live? No problem, just hop on a plane and head to the tropics. When you're bored of the Caribbean, maybe Australia's nice this time of year. And if you don't like the heat, go live in an igloo in Iceland. I hear they even have fast Wi-Fi. Just trading for a living, not being tied down to anything. Sounds amazing, right? Unfortunately, it's an unrealistic goal for nearly everybody, and I'm sorry to say it so bluntly, but it just is. I see so many people on Twitter and in the Facebook groups that I follow. Every week, a couple of people will ask, how realistic is it for them to quit their day job and become a full-time trader, just living off their profits? Well, okay, instead of me just giving you the very cold and dismissive response of, it's not realistic, don't quit your day job, let's actually calculate it with some numbers on the page. There's two simple input variables in this equation that we need to answer. And the first is, how much income do you need after taxes to meet your annual expenses? What's that level? And second, what annual rate of return is realistically achievable for a trader? With just those two input variables, we can now calculate how much capital you need in your trading account to get the ball rolling, right? So first of all, let's start with what level of income do you need to meet your expenses? Now, hopefully you have personal goals of making a higher income, saving more money, and living a more financially comfortable life than the average American. I want that for you as well, so hopefully you're trying to outperform everything I'm going to show you here. But just for this example today, I'm going to use averages across the board. So there was a large study done in 2013 by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, which concluded that the average United States household expenses were $63,784. Now, we need to adjust this for inflation from 2013 until today, so $63,784 becomes $69,806. Now, bear in mind, some people will be the higher earner in the family, so the bulk of that will fall on their shoulders to earn. And some others may be the sole income in the family, requiring the full amount. But again, using straight averages, let's cut that number in half for how much one person needs. That's $34,903 of required annual income. Now, realistically, you're probably going to need a lot more than that, and like I said, I really hope that you want to make more than that. But just for today, that's our baseline case. $34,903, that's the first input variable we need. And the second is, what rate of return are we talking about here? What can a person realistically get? And I don't just mean in one fantastic year when all of the stars align perfectly for you. Remember, this is a long-term commitment to be a full-time trader. We're talking about 5 to 10 years or longer, during bull markets and bear markets, your best years and your worst years. And this is where the comment sections on Twitter and Facebook turn into comedy, because there's no shortage of people who will say that they have a friend who makes 30% a year, or they have a cousin who makes 50% a year, or they know somebody at work who makes 100% a year. Online, there's thousands of anonymous traders out there making those easy gains every day. Who knew we were surrounded by so many millionaire traders, right? They're everywhere. But in the real world, nearly 0% of them can prove it. Believe me, if they could prove a verified track record of 5 years or longer making those insane returns, they could easily parlay that into a several $100,000 a year income in the financial industry. And we could just bypass this whole argument of trying to be a full-time trader and scraping by on $35,000 a year. They'd be a millionaire in no time and wouldn't need to know how much it takes to be a full-time trader. But okay, we do need to come up with a number here. So I'm going to be extremely generous here today and assume a long-term rate of return return of 30% a year. But just know that a long-term rate of return of 30% a year would easily make that person one of the best traders in the world. But okay, let's assume the person is going to be one of the best, making 30% annualized through good years and bad. Bull markets, bear markets, terrible years included, 30% a year. So with those two input variables, annual income required and annual rate of return, now we can calculate how much a person needs in trading capital just to break even. Remember, this is just the amount required not to be moving backwards in net worth. This isn't even attempting to grow the wealth over time, or live a more comfortable lifestyle, which I do hope is your ultimate goal. Treading water every year leaves you with almost nothing when you retire. So clearly you're going to want far more than this, but as an absolute minimum, to earn $34,903 a year on a 30% rate of return, the person needs $116,343 in their trading account. So all this talk you see online of people being full-time traders with $10,000 in their account, or even $25,000 or $50,000 in their account, it's totally unrealistic and dangerous. The rate of return required to make those numbers work is just absurd, and it would definitely lead to the person blowing up their trading account quite quickly. A trader with a small $10,000 account still needs to make $34,903 a year to meet their absolute basic expenses. In order to do that, they need to make a 349% rate of return, year after year, just to break even. And even if the trader was starting with $25,000, they still need to make a 140% annual rate of return indefinitely, just to be able to meet the baseline expenses for only half of the average US household. Now, I hope nobody out there actually thinks that rate of return is possible year after year, because if you do, as the saying goes, I have a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you. But now let's get realistic, because obviously we do want an income higher than that baseline case. We do want to be able to grow our net worth over time and actually support ourselves and our family in retirement. Working hard just to break even on a sustenance income isn't exactly what people have in mind when they think full-time trader. So let's get a realistic example. Making six figures a year in 2019 is not outlandish at all. So let's say the person wants to make $100,000 a year. Remember, after taxes, that's hardly high roller lifestyle. In major cities, that's still pretty modest living. And we'll assume they're still one of the best traders on the planet, and they can continue to make an average long-term rate of return of 30% a year. That person now needs $333,000 in their trading account. If you had that kind of capital, would you really want to put it all on the line and be forced to continue making 30% a year just to keep it? Probably not the best financial choice. But I said we're going to be realistic, right? 30% a year indefinitely is just not realistic for 99% of the people out there. Even 15% a year over multiple decades is a fantastic rate of return. If you can get that and prove it, believe me, you have a multitude of high-paying jobs at your disposal. 15% a year indefinitely, few people will achieve that going forward. But let's say they are that good and they can. Well, now they need $667,000 of capital just to avoid losing money. Think about that. If you're good enough to make 15% a year for the rest of your life, you'd still need nearly $700,000 in capital just to make $100,000 a year before taxes. Doesn't sound that great now, does it? I know it's the goal of many people out there to turn their trading into a full-time job, living the life. It sounds great. And I thought so too. I did it myself in the past. When I retired from professional golf many years ago, I spent 6 years of my life as a full-time trader, just me and my laptop. I had capital and I was making killer returns. But take my word for it, it's still not worth it. In reality, it's a highly stressful life, being forced to make insane investing returns that would make the world's best hedge fund managers jealous, and that's all just to maintain a modest lifestyle and the original capital in the account. One bad year and you realize very quickly how unsustainable this path really is. So forget about what you've read online. Forget about all those comments from people saying they have a friend of a friend who does it. Anybody who says they do, feel free to post proof in the comment section down below. My guess is probably nobody will. So here's the bottom line, and the math agrees with me. Unless you're very well capitalized, and I mean $500,000 at least, it's just not realistic to be a full-time trader. And why would you want to be? Look, if you're a person who can make 20 to 30% a year, that's world class, and there are countless ways that you can become a millionaire. Maybe you should help other people achieve the same results, and trust me, they'll pay you handsomely for it. Remember, 85% of fund managers out there don't even beat their benchmarks. 5 to 10% a year would already put you in about the top 10% globally. If you're out there making double-digit returns year after year, you've got it made. Just get yourself a side income and then compound that account at 30% a year. Go mess around with a compound interest calculator. At that rate of return, it really doesn't take very long to be rich. So for all my trading friends out there with $25,000, $50,000 in their trading account that want to be a full-time trader, slow down, my friend. That's not nearly enough money. And even if it was, it's not a lifestyle you want. Focus on building your income, trade as much as you can on the side, hone your craft, and if it turns out you really are one of the best traders in the world, trust me, you'll find plenty of better ways to turn that into a great life for yourself. For me, I turned my successful trading years into a community of like-minded investors looking to grow our accounts the right way, consistently over time, minimal stress, reducing drawdowns during bad market periods, and of course, not having to pull money out to pay the bills, which is the kiss of death for any trading account. Again, I meant no offense at all by this video. It's just simply to answer the question of how much capital a trader needs to get started full-time trading. Turns out, it's a lot. So feel free to check out my website, claim your free trial, and see if the VTS community is something that you might benefit from. You're always welcome to join us. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching the video. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and go check out my website right here. There's tons of articles and videos on there, as well as a free trial to join the VTS investing community. What have you got to lose? Come see how I personally navigate these unruly markets. See you next time.